Hi guys, welcome back to another Photoshop tutorial section with Benema. Today we want to talk about blending mode in Photoshop. So I will basically face the blending mode in layer panel. So we have different ways we can apply blending mode, but I want to teach about layer panel blending mode. We have over 30 blending mode in Photoshop. Then we have, I think we have 27 here. Then we have 2 extra if you choose brush 2. Then you can see 2 additional 1 here. We have behind and clear. Then again, we also have 1 if you apply a blending mode to a particular layer in a group. You can see that this group, then we have extra 1 which is pass through. Then today I just want to talk about the categories of the blending mode and how blending modes works. Now let's talk about the philosophy of how blending modes work. Now if you look at the screen, you can see that we have 2 layers here. We have the red layer, then we have the hash layer. Now I applied multiply blending mode on the red layer. That is the reason why we have a blend result. Now we have names for this blending or these layers. So the first layer, which is at the top, we are going to apply a blending mode particularly on the one at the top. So therefore the first one is called blend layer. So while the second one, which is under the blend layer, is called the base layer. Why the effect of the blending, which is where they intercept, you can see that we have a different colors there. So the effect of that blending is called the blend result. And don't forget, I said the first layer is the layer that we are going to apply the blending mode on. Now the first layer is called the blend layer. The first layer is called the blend layer. The next layer, which is the below layer, is called the base layer. So it's called the base layer. Why the blending color after you have applied the blending mode on the first layer is called the blend results. I just want you to store this at the back of your mind, that the first layer or the top layer is called the blend layer, which you are going to apply the blending mode on, while the one below, it can be like 3-4 layers. So the one below is called the base layer. Why the effect you apply or the blend you apply on the first layer, the reaction over the other layers is called the blend results. So have that at the back of your mind. So yeah, now we want to talk about the categories or the groups in blending mode. But basically, I'm going to face layer panel blending mode. We have different blending mode. If I choose brush 2 right now, you can see that we have another set of blending mode. Here we have extra 2, the extra 2 here, we have normal, dissolved, behind, clear. While on the layer panel we have normal, dissolved. Do you understand? Then if I group this particular layer, you can see that we have additional pass through. Altogether, all the blending mode in Photoshop are 30 blending modes. So let me ungroup this. Ungroup this. Yeah. So we have 2 layers. Then we have a background under that point. You can see that we have a deep red, or let me say it's a blood red. Now let me quickly explain. Now on the normal group, we have normal and dissolved, and nothing happens to that particular blend layer because it's on normal. So only if you reduce the opacity, that is when you can see through that particular layer and you see the blend results. Then also on dissolved, is a random replacement of the pixels, which is the base color or the blend color, depending on the opacity at any pixels location. So if you reduce the opacity as well, now the blend result is going to be in random, and it's going to be in the form of a dust, because we're using dissolved, and this is the attribute of that particular blending mode. So the blending mode of that uh, of that dissolved on the blend layer is going to be in a dusty form. So the more you reduce, the more the dust is going to be reduced, or the dust is going to be many, and you'll be able to see through the color behind. Now let's move on to the next group, and under the next group we have what we call darkened group. Now under darkened group, you can see that we have darken multiply. I won't be able to to point out all, because I don't want to to jam pack your head, but in a layman form I'm going to explain how it works. Is based on what we have below, which is the base layer. Now under darken mode, the pixels that are lighter than the blend color will be replaced, while the pixels darker than the blend color do not change. Do you understand? Now if I choose darken now, because this one is darker than the white, so it's going to remove anything white. So anything white from there, so anything darker than the base color, is not going to replace them. So anything white is going to remove anything white, or anything lighter than white, or lighter than black. So because we have a dark red, or let me say we have a blood red under, so this black is deeper than the blood red, so it's going to retain. So if I change it to black, so therefore we are not going to see anything, because the value of black is also equal to the value of that same black, so it's going to replace them as well. So if I choose white, nothing will change, because the value of this color is not lesser than the value of the base layer. So now if I choose if I choose multiply, so no, don't let me just go there. Let me just jump to the other. So you can use the first description to apply the others. So though there are a slight change in between those particular groups, but I just want they all have the same attributes, but a slight change in their attributes. So now let's talk about the lighting. So now under the lighting, it's going to remove anything darker and retain the white. Now let me change this one to the red, blood red, and let's see what will happen if I choose lighting. So anything lighter than the base layer is going to retain it. It's going to retain anything lighter than the base layer. So pixels darker than the blend color are replaced, and the pixels lighter than the blend color do not change. Opposite of darkened. So now let me lighten this a little bit and see what will happen. Now you can see that we can see through the dark part, which is okay. Let me change this to green so that you can see. Now we have black here we have black text here before, and as you can see, the blacks are not there again. Anything lighter will be retained, so anything darker will be removed. The first one is anything lighter will be removed, and anything darker will be retained. But this one, anything lighter will be, on lighting, anything darker will be removed, while anything lighter will be retained. Now let me quickly drag this into that document. Let me choose smoke from my file. Okay, now you can see that we have white here, we have dark here. Now if I choose darkened, you can see that anything white has been removed because they are lighter than the base layer. So if I choose light darken or screen, you can see that anything lighter is going to be retained, while darker is going to remove. So just like the opposite of the other. So now let's talk about the third one, which is overlay. And under overlay, we have under overlay group, we have we have contrast. So we have contrast. So if I apply overlay here, you can see that we have more contrast on that particular layer. So it's going to apply a contrast effect on that particular layer. So I'm going to stop here, so we continue the next class on how the other two groups works, or let me say the other three, because we have two in one here, but I'm going to categorize them as one group. So I'm going to use inversion for the both of them. So I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you gain one or two things. If you gain one or two things, I want you to just subscribe to the channel, or you like, or you share with your friends who need this, and also make sure you click the notification bell so that you can see whenever I post, or you can it will notify you whenever I post. So thank you. We'll see you next class. Be creative.